Hey there and welcome to this AFK journey video. So in this AFK journey video, we're going to do the updated Dream Realm store guide for Song of Strife. More specifically, I'll talk about the current most important unit from this shop compared to the previous one. So this Dream Realm store guide is for the Song of Strife season. So for those of you guys who are done with your original story progression, you are done with building up the characters you need for your original Dream Realm teams, you can actually start to prepare for this next season, which is a Song of Strife for you guys who ever unlocked it. So for those of you guys who are not familiar, in the original version, right, at the base version pre-season, the two key units to go for are Merrily, right, as well as our dear Corinne over here. So due to the mechanics changes, true damage is not as good from the early to mid stage of Song of Strife. So right now, right, in terms of the seasonal Dream Realm, in terms of this boss fights itself, usually the units that you focus on in the Dream Realm store is heavily related to your boss over here. And for these current bosses, or the 6 bosses in the new season, Skyclops, King Coco, Necro Dragon, they are, I'll say, like, your Odie does better than Merrily in these bosses. So right now, right, in terms of the new season, the units that you want to go for is actually Odie as well as Coco, because Odie and Coco is actually really good unit before the new season itself. It's just that they are not as powerful as Merrily and Corinne in the original version. But with the new season coming in, the two most highest priority change from Merrily and Corinne to our dear Odie as well as Coco. So let me explain why. Number one, right, because now all these bosses are hitting super duper hard. At where I am right now, I'm currently at the epic tier. So there will be like a lot of people below epic. There's difficulty 3, there's difficulty 2, there's common 1, common 2, as you guys can see from the different badges. So we are currently at the early to mid stage of Dream Realm, where survival is something that's more important than debuffing. So Coco's case, right, Coco's ultimate is just so good that if you can get the EX weapon up, it's going to increase the survivability of your team by a huge notch, and that's something which I think is going to be super valuable for you to push for more damage in Dream Realm. So if you're somewhere in the middle of the original story, right, in chapter 1 to chapter 4, and you already have a pretty decent Dream Realm team, you can definitely start building up for these units for this Dream Realm. So the next question which I can see a lot of people asking is, Zeep, should I push my Odie to Supreme Plus? So before the new season started, I won't say that it's a must, but with the new season, I'll say currently it is probably a must or highly recommended. So I'll talk about it based on Odie's kit. So there's actually a few reasons why Odie became way more powerful. It's not just the change in damage type, is also the introduction of the seasonal skill. And the seasonal skill scales really well with the second skill triple tap, as well as Odie just being a generally normal attacker type of unit. So seasonal skill is amazing on him with triple tap, and obviously Venomous Surge, right, basically increases the damage for Odie, right, over time. So he's able to build up stacks faster, and the reason why you want to get him to Supreme Plus is because the Supreme Plus skill, right, further increases the damage dealt, right? So a lot of his kit right now, in terms of damage building up, in terms of his main damage source, come from the Dart Poison over time. So this increase in that poison damage over time is really good to boost his damage output to the next level. And by the way, I think moving into the current Song of Strife season itself, content pushing with Odie, for those of you guys who are free to play, right, is really amazing. Because if you go with Coco and Odie in terms of the Dream Realm store, and then for your wish list you choose Smokey, and then you have a Tendra as a support, or you have a Rowan, or you have another support unit, and then you go for Brutus on the front line, you have a really decent Molar pushing lineup, which is quite decent in terms of content pushing. It's not the best, but it is very good for its value, because all these units you can get it from the store. So obviously if you're somebody who's a heavy spender, it probably doesn't apply to you, because you could be just running your Iron Carolina combo. But for those of guys who are light spenders, or or mid spenders who already invested in a lot of the Mauler units, specifically Smokey and Odie, and then you just need to like improve the quality of your Brutus, you can actually push through the contents pretty easily. So far I think for this season Mauler got a huge upgrade, and I'll say I'll recommend these two units, Odie as well as Coco, as the top 2 priority. So let's say if you already have Odie and Coco maxed out, what are the other units you want to keep a lookout for in the Dream Realm store? To be honest, I think Arden will still be one of my favorites, because Arden is just so good in terms of content pushing. And if you are already building your Iron team or you're building your control centric teams, I think Arden's value won't fall off anytime soon. Like, this unit is so good, not just in terms of doing damage, but in terms of the controlling compartment to buy you more time for your team to do what they want to do. So that's why I also recommend Arden as one of the top priority. There's another unit which I think is a super underdog for this patch, and she goes really well with Odie, and that is Satrana. So Satrana is a unit which I think doesn't really need an EX weapon to function, and with this recent change in the seasonal skill, or rather the introduction of seasonal skill, right, Satrana is the only unit with this for arcane focus ability. So as long as she's able to stick on the front line, as long as she's able to apply this debuff on the enemy, your OD or your other magical attacker will do a lot more damage. So the current meta, or the current most used units in terms of contents or in terms of Dream Realm or even Arena, they're very mage centric. So Satrana actually is a pretty decent unit specifically for this version, but I won't recommend you to overly commit to her, because like I mentioned, this is a seasonal only thing. I think Satrana outside of the season stuff might not be that good. I think getting her to at least, I'll say like Legend Plus will be more than sufficient. Just get this damage reduction on her so that she can stand on the front line, survive, and then apply this debuff on the enemy, and then buff your team from the Ignite Passion skill, and then you are pretty much done with her. But if let's say you kind of want extreme value, if you're somebody who wants to min-max your resources, I don't think she's a must. Like Odie, Coco will be the higher priority, and then followed by Arden, who is a really strong late game unit and for content pushing as well. So that's for the Dream Realm store guide. So that's it, just a simple update into the Song of Strife season Dream Realm. Before we end off the video, I'll just like to clarify that if you are maybe at the start of the game, right, Merrily as well as Corey will still be really good in the original Dream Realm, but this only applies for the season Dream Realm where the changes already kicked in. So that's where Odie will rise up in terms of damage output, and I'll say that Odie will probably have a greater greater priority compared to Merrily, because Odie was originally good in the original story for content pushing, as well as like doing decent damage in Dream Realm, and then coming into the seasonal Dream Realm, Odie became a lot better. So that's why he will be my #1 priority right now, even if you are in the original seasonal Dream Realm before the Song of Strife season. So that's it for this video. Thank you very much for tuning in. Do remember to like and subscribe as usual to see more, and I will see you guys again in my next video. Bye guys.